What's going on, y'all? We are going to learn how to solve logarithms in today's video. And I know that last week we went over the properties of logs, and these logarithms, since it's round one, we're not going to necessarily use most of those properties, but there might be a couple that you would be surprised that we're using because you might have glazed over them and didn't really use them last time. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so here's our first example. So we're just going to want to solve this. So we're going to have a couple of steps. So here's going to be our first one. We're going to want to isolate the log. All right, so step one's already done for us. Our log is already isolated. And step two is we are going to exponentiate both sides according to the base of the log. All right, so let's go ahead and do step two right here. So the base of our log is 3. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, you know what, let's take 3 and we're going to make this the exponent and this the exponent. So this is going to be 3 to the power of log base 3 of x plus 1. So notice how this whole thing became the exponent to this base of 3. And we're going to set this equal to 3 to the power of 3. Notice how this 3 became the exponent on this side. So this is called exponentiation. And the reason why we do this is because of one of our inverse properties. So if you recall, you need to know this. If you have b raised to the power of log base b of x, this is just x. So whatever is inside our log, that's what it's going to be equal to. And if you notice, we have the same situation here. We have 3 raised to the power of log base 3 of x plus 1. So this whole thing is going to be just x plus 1 is equal to 3 cubed. So this is why we exponentiate both sides according to the base of the log. And our last step is just going to be, normal, solve for x or whatever variable. So in this case, 3 cubed, that is 27. And subtract 1 and you get x is equal to 26. And you know what, I should actually add a fourth step, is you should check for your extraneous solutions. And this is actually very important. If you plug x back in and then inside the log is a negative number, that's going to be an extraneous solution. So let's go ahead and continue. All right, we got another one here. So this one's a bit more spicy, but I think we're going to be okay and we're going to figure it out. So our first step is to isolate our logarithm. So we have a 2 multiplied by it. So let's go ahead and divide by 2 on both sides. So we're left here with log base of 1/2, ooh, a bit spicy, of v is equal to -1. So we divided by 2 on both sides. And now we're going to exponentiate by 1/2. So we're going to have 1/2 to the power of log base 1/2 of v is equal to 1/2 to the power of -1. So remember, this becomes the exponent. And now with our property, this whole left side just becomes v. And we have 1/2 to the -1, and that is going to be -2. Sorry, that's not going to be -2. I am, yikes. That's going to be just 2. All right. Yeah, so v is going to be equal to 2. Here's another example. So in this case, we have a common log. So in this case, our base is going to be 10, just to remind you. I'm not going to do that after this, But remember, the common log is base 10. So first things first, we're going to isolate our log. So we're going to subtract 5. So we have log of 2b minus 4 is equal to 2. And now we're going to exponentiate both sides. So you're going to have 10 to the log of 2b minus 4 is equal to 10 squared. So now our whole left side just becomes 2b minus 4 equals 10 squared, which is 100. Now we solve for b, so we add 4. 2b is equal to 104. And divide by 2, b is equal to 52. So that is it for that problem. And I think we got one more in total. And oh, here we go. So here's our last problem. We're going to want to just solve for this. So let's go ahead and do it. First thing is we are going to get the log by itself. So the same steps. So we're going to divide by 3 on both sides. Log base 27 of a squared minus 1 is equal to 1/3. So I just divide by 3 on both sides. And now it's the same thing. You're just going to exponentiate by the base of the log. So we're going to have 27, then log base 27 of a squared minus 1. And this is going to be equal to 27 to the 1/3. All right, so on our left side, we have b log b, b to the log b. So we're just going to end up with a squared minus 1. And 27 to the 1/3, that's also the cube root of 27, which is equal to 3. So this is going to be equal to 3. So now we're going to solve for a. So we're going to add 1 to both sides. So we get a squared equals 4. And we can square root both sides. So we get a is equal to plus minus 2. And that is our answer. So that's going to be it for solving logs without properties, round 1. Be sure to check your answers. I know I went kind of fast, but especially if you're going to get a negative answer, that's going to be an extraneous solution. So be sure to watch out for those. But without further ado, that's going to be it for this, and I'll see you in the next video.